I remember that night vividly, not because of anything dramatic, but because of the quiet that followed. We were sitting on the couch, a movie playing that neither of us was really paying attention to. The only light came from the TV, flickering across her face. She didn't look angry or even sad, just hollow. I asked if something was wrong, though deep down, I already knew. She let out a sigh, turned to me, and said in a flat, steady voice, "You don't make me happy. Why should I be warm?" There was no anger in it, no sharpness, just a simple statement of fact, like reading the weather. And in that moment, something inside me shifted. For so long, months, maybe years, I'd been chasing the version of her that no longer existed. The one who used to laugh at my dumb jokes, sneak up behind me while I made coffee, or reach for my hand without thinking. I believed that if I just tried harder, loved better, gave more, I could bring her back. But her words made it clear, she didn't want to come back. That night, I didn't argue or plead. I just nodded and said, "Okay." She blinked, caught off guard, like she'd been expecting a fight, or maybe tears. Instead, I stood, turned off the TV, and said I was going to bed. The silence that followed wasn't painful, it was clarifying. The next morning, I didn't make her coffee. I didn't text her during the day. I didn't try to make her laugh. I simply stopped trying. And in that strange quiet, I found a kind of peace I hadn't felt in years. At first, she didn't seem to notice, or maybe she enjoyed it. The stillness, the lack of emotional demand. I'd come home, cook my dinner, wash my dish, and sit in the living room with a book. She'd scroll through her phone, sometimes laughing at something I wasn't part of. We became polite strangers sharing the same space. One night, I got home late. She was already eating, one plate on the table. She looked up briefly and said, "There's leftover pasta in the pot." I nodded, warmed it up, and ate standing by the counter. She frowned slightly. "Why aren't you sitting?" she asked. I replied, "Didn't think it mattered." That was the first time her calm cracked. Over the next few days, I could feel her watching me, trying to figure out what had changed. I wasn't cruel or distant. I was simply gone in a quiet, emotional way. It hit me then. Warmth shouldn't be something you have to earn. It should move freely, both ways. 2 weeks later, one Saturday morning, she came into the kitchen while I was cooking eggs. Her voice was sharp. "So this is it? You're just detached now?" I said, "I'm just following your lead." Her eyes narrowed. "You're being childish." I smiled a little. "Maybe, but at least I'm not begging anymore." She didn't answer. She just stared for a moment, then turned and walked out. And strangely, I didn't feel small anymore. For years, my peace had depended on her mood, her affection. Now, in my distance, I'd found my own balance. The weeks passed quietly. The space between us grew so thick you could feel it when you opened the door. I started coming home later, keeping to myself, fixing things in the garage on weekends. Sometimes she'd linger in the doorway, like she wanted to say something but couldn't find the words. One night, I found her sitting at the kitchen table, eyes red, arms crossed. "You don't even look at me anymore," she said. I answered, "You told me not to." She frowned. "I never said that." I reminded her word for word. "You don't make me happy. Why should I be warm?" Her lips parted slightly, and I saw the moment she remembered. She looked down, silent. I didn't feel the weight of it anymore. I just walked past, poured myself a drink, and sat on the couch, the same place this all began. For the first time in a long while, I didn't feel like the one who was broken. The days that followed felt like a quiet standoff. She started hanging around the same spaces I was in, pretending to scroll through her phone, sneaking glances every now and then, as if she wanted to say something but no longer knew how. I answered her politely whenever she spoke, but the warmth she'd once refused to return never came back. At first, the change was almost invisible. She started cooking again, asking if I wanted dinner. I said yes, thanked her, and ate quietly. No compliments, no conversation, just courtesy. After a while, that politeness began to bother her. One evening, she suddenly snapped. "You think you're better than me now?" she asked. I looked up from my book. No, I said calmly. I just stopped trying to make you happy. Her jaw tightened. You're acting like I'm the problem. I shrugged. We both are. But I was the only one fighting for us, and I stopped. She went quiet, eyes glassy with tears she refused to let fall. That's when I understood. She wasn't angry because I'd given up. She was angry because she'd lost control. She'd grown comfortable knowing I would always chase her, no matter how distant she became. The next morning, she made breakfast without a word. Pancakes, my favorite, something I hadn't seen in months. She slid a plate toward me. Eat before it gets cold, she said. I smiled faintly. Thanks. We ate in silence, the air thick with everything unspoken. She picked at her food, stealing glances at me. Finally, she said softly, you don't even try to talk to me anymore. I set my fork down. You made it pretty clear that my presence didn't make you happy. That's not what I meant, she said quickly. Then what did you mean? She looked away. I don't know. I was angry. I nodded. I was desperate. We both said things that killed something between us. She bit her lip, eyes wet. Can we fix it? I took a deep breath and told her what I'd been holding inside for weeks. I don't know if I want to. Her face fell, and for a second, guilt brushed against me. But it wasn't cruelty. It was honesty. Our love had become a performance. I played the fool trying to earn affection. She played the critic, deciding if I deserved it. When I stopped performing, the whole thing fell apart. Over the next few weeks, she changed. She started doing the small things I'd once begged for, asking about my day, cooking my favorite meals, brushing her hand against my arm as she passed. But it all felt out of place. I didn't mistrust her intentions as much as I distrusted the timing. One night, she asked if I wanted to go for a drive, something we hadn't done in years. I said yes. We drove through the city in silence, the light streaking past the windows. You used to hold my hand when we drove, she said quietly. I did, I answered. She waited, maybe hoping I'd reach out. I didn't. After a pause, she whispered, You're really done, aren't you? I thought for a moment. No, I'm not done with love. I'm just done begging for it. The rest of the ride passed in silence. When we got home, she went straight to the bedroom and closed the door. I sat on the couch, the same one where everything seemed to start and end, and felt something I hadn't felt in years, peace. The peace that comes when you stop trying to convince someone you're worth keeping. The next morning, she was gone early. A note sat on the counter. I need time to think. Don't give up on me yet. I read it twice, folded it neatly, and left it there. I didn't chase her. That weekend, I went fishing with a couple of old friends and laughed more in a few hours than I had in years. When I came home, the house was quiet, but it no longer felt empty. It felt like mine again. Later that night, she texted, Can we talk? I stared at the message for a while before replying, maybe later. I'm finally learning to be happy again without needing anyone's permission. She didn't reply. I went to bed early and, for the first time in a long while, slept soundly. Sometimes love doesn't end in anger or betrayal. Sometimes it ends with a simple truth you've both been avoiding. She once told me, You don't make me happy. Why should I be warm? And I finally understood. Happiness isn't something you give away by breaking yourself in half. It's something you protect, once you've learned the cost of losing it.